The purpose of the meeting today is to gather information from the residents and landowners of the town of Hector. The topic of gas drilling and hydro-fracking has become a very emotional issue here and across the state. Today, both sides have an opportunity to tell your elected officials your viewpoint. Everyone is expected to be respectful of any and all speakers. And at this point, where did Brett go? Here he is. I'll let Brett discuss some of the...
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brett Chedzoy. I'm a forester with Cornell Cooperative Extension. My office is down Montour Falls. Normally, I like being just a forester, but in Extension, they call me a natural resources educator, and somehow natural gas fell into that. So for the last few years, I've been heavily involved with natural gas outreach and education. And just going to go over a few details very quickly and then get right into the meeting. The only restrooms that are open are right out here in the foyer when you came in. If you can, please turn your cell phone on to vibrate or off. If you do have to take a call, please step outside to do it so that we're not interfering with people's ability to make their comments to the town board. It looks like we'll have enough time today for everybody that's currently signed up to be able to make their comments. But if you don't feel like standing up to the microphone or we run out of time, because the meeting will conclude at noon, please feel free to leave written comments in the box that's on the back table. Again, time is going to be a little bit tight. Suzanne and others and Nancy are going to help people stay on track to the 3-minute time limit. And if you divide 3 minutes into 3 hours, that's still a fairly limited number of people that are going to get to take the microphone this morning. So for as many people to be able to speak as possible, please hold comments from the floor or an applause so that you're not interrupting somebody that's standing up here trying to make their comments. And Ben will try to give us about a 15-minute warning when we're approaching the noon hour, and again, at noon, the meeting will conclude. So with that, we can, I think everybody, when they signed in, they got a number this morning, so that will be one way to help you track when it's your turn. Obviously, if speaker number 5 is up and you're speaker number 7, you should be moving towards the microphone, but Ben will also try and read names off from the list. Thank you.
Okay, well, just got to take this out. The first speaker is Jacqueline Leidenfrost. The next 2 speakers ought to probably come forward and be ready, and they will be Jim Bora and Melissa Chipman.
Good morning, Supervisor Dickens and the Hector board members. Thank you for holding this public comment period. I believe that it is our right and privilege to question our local and state government's ability and interest to uphold our public health and safety. My name is Jacqueline Leidenfrost. I moved to Hector from the New York metropolitan area when I was 6 years old because my parents wished to bring up their young family, which consisted of my 2 brothers and myself, in a healthy country environment. My father left a good job, a home that was paid for in Jersey, his mother, brothers, and sisters to move here. That was back in 1947, and generally speaking, our town has not changed negatively in terms of air and water quality since then. Compared with the effects of industrialization on much of the United States since that time, we can feel fortunate that we live in a region that still enjoys clean air and clean water. You may have read recently how scarce water is becoming in the United States. A recent newspaper article reported that the year 2011 there was unprecedented drought throughout the country. More than 33% of the U.S. is now in a drought situation, extending from western Arizona to central North Carolina, a distance of more than 2,000 miles. This drought alone has cost the United States $10 billion in agricultural losses, a far greater expense than other weather catastrophes of last year. I know it is difficult for Hector to sympathize with drought stories after all the rain we had last fall. However, I mention the drought in other parts of the country to emphasize how important water is to our life, to emphasize that without water, there is no life. Is this thing working? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
So let me get back to green, lush, beautiful Hector. We still have our unadulterated land. We still have our clean drinking source, whether it comes from Seneca Lake or individual wells. We still breathe clean air. We still have our tourism, our agriculture, our wineries, all industries that are flourishing. When huge gas companies with their huge profits cunningly tell us that they will provide jobs, boost our economy, and sell us cheaper fuel, we need to put our priorities in perspective. We need to sit back, take a long look, and evaluate what we all have at stake here and what we may lose if fracking is allowed. Now more than ever, we need to be on high alert when we read and learn what is happening.
Sorry, but your time is up.
That was, I can finish. Now more than ever, we need to be on high alert when we read and learn what is happening to other parts of the country as a result of this rush to become energy independent. We need to ask ourselves, what is the big rush here and why? I can't believe that was 3 minutes. I can submit this though, right?
That's correct. Mr. Bora.
Would you please kind of glance in my direction because I'm telling you how much time you have left.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All set?
Yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope I managed to stumble through this. My name's Jim Bora. I live in Hector currently, and I'm against fracking. I'm against fracking as it is today, with the procedures and policies that are in place today. That's why we're here. That's why everybody's here. As the frackers were coming across the country, they weren't winning the hearts and minds of people. They were creating problems, and the ripple effect passed across the country, and now it's here. And so what we're talking about is the current form and with the current policies and the current procedures and the limited oversight. That's the problem that we have today. I don't mean to speak for all of those who are opposing fracking, but I think I'll speak for probably, excuse me, the majority when I say the people opposed to fracking are not opposed to companies making money, people making money, being the people who lease their land. I mean, that's their right, that's their resource. We are opposed to the end result. We wouldn't be here if there weren't problems. There are obviously and clearly problems that have been proven. So, in summary, what I'm saying is I would like to ask our friends and neighbors who have leased, excuse me, and who wish to lease, to consider putting their efforts behind those of us who are opposing fracking, to put in place the policies, the procedures, and the oversight that we need so that fracking, if it does come, can be done safely, can be done while doing no harm. We don't want to do harm to our friends, our neighbors, our environment, to make money. I think everybody can agree with that. So if we can move forward with gas extraction while doing no harm, let's do that. If we can't, then we must not. Thank you.
Melissa Chipman?
Hi, I'm Melissa Chipman. Thank you for having this today. And I am very concerned about people. That's why I became a massage therapist. And when I was in massage school, we learned about the body and how delicate a balance the body is. And it's 90% water. Our bodies are made up of 90% water. So if we mess up the water in our environment, this is my fear that we will be destroying ourselves. And I hope that everyone gets a chance to read the editorial in the current Review and Express. It was very good. Thank you.
Neil Johnston?
Thank you. My name is Neil Johnston. I work in town here at Farmer Ground Flour in Trumansburg. I work with local bakers and farmers. Our livelihood depends upon organic grains and clean water. Fracking will destroy that. Co-ops we sell to have clearly stated they will not source from an area subjected to fracking chemicals. I spent most of my life working construction. A few years of that included a natural gas pipeline. I got one weekend off after 3 weeks. We traveled to the Panhandle National Forest in Idaho, beautiful country, now left toxic with arsenic from strip mining. The towns are dead, the houses are derelict and depressing. We were there in late December. No one around to issue fines for disturbing the arsenic-laden topsoil. It was frustrating and a miserable job, and I learned a lot about their concerns and priorities. In 1971, the United States declared war on cancer. Now I think it's literally just a conflict. Corporations save money not using safe alternatives to carcinogenic chemicals or disposing of them properly, and our governments don't have the backbone to stop it. From the standpoint of a war against cancer, allowing hydro-fracking equates to handing the enemy a nuclear arsenal. In fact, under the Geneva Act, you would not even be allowed to use the fracking chemical solution on your enemy. People opposing this atrocity have been labeled extremists, even eco-terrorists. I want to clarify that we are the terrorized. We need independence from foreign oil. More importantly, we need independence from the energy giants who are part of the corruption dragging this great nation to its knees. They lobby for cuts to government oversight, slashing environmental regulations, while getting more tax breaks and subsidies for themselves. We need independence from this deadly cycle, and renewable energy is the solution. On January 19th, natural gas hit a 10-year low at $2.32 per 1,000 cubic feet on the U.S. market. So why frack now? Because on January 17th, the Department of Energy awarded the permit to ship 1.7 billion cubic feet of liquefied natural gas per day out of Louisiana. That's not doing us any favors. Fracking is not about bringing a soldier home. It's about destroying their home. We cannot deny that far too many have died because of our need for oil. We cannot deny that the oil and gas lobby has pushed with all its might to keep renewable energy out of the picture. We cannot pretend the DEC has the strength or the wherewithal to do their job. We cannot believe that bought-off politicians are looking out for our family's health. No amount of money can make this sickness right. Health is wealth, and I will gladly fight so that my daughter can reap that bounty. We need to We need to ban fracking now, and our need for clean air and clean water must supersede our need for energy and quick cash.
Steve Shum?
Say who's on deck, Ben?
Yep. Coven Fitzsimmons?
Just a reminder, please, hold your applause just so that the next speaker can be lined up and step right up to the microphone and have their full time. Thank you.
Let's see, Coven 6. Speaker number 7 will be Sarah Shantz. Oh, Coven is first. That's 3 of them.
I'm Steve Shum, and I live on Stillwell Road in the town of Hector. With this statement, I ask the town of Hector to consider the weight of the pros and cons of hydro-fracking on a scale. Let's look at what could be some of the positives. A few people in the town of Hector with lots of land will benefit the most. Those who own rental properties will increase their rent, so they will make some money. There will be some new roads. The town of Hector may receive some tax dollars, and there may be a few town employees by the gas company, but there won't be many. There might be a few other positives that I'm missing, but primarily a few people with the most assets will gain the most. So now let's look at some of the possible negatives. Added traffic, not just ordinary farm and car traffic, but heavy rigs carrying millions of gallons of chemicals, and not just a few trucks, but hundreds of truck trips to each well every day. A huge increase in traffic accidents caused by these trucks. Those who rent will suffer skyrocketing rental costs. The hospital in Schuyler County will not be able to handle the surge of healthcare needs, of drill pad injuries, traffic accidents, and an increase in illnesses caused by the carcinogens and other pollutants. The huge potential of permanent contamination of surface water, aquifers, other water sources. Water is being trucked into hundreds of homes as we speak because drilling has damaged drinking water. Road damage may or may not be fixed. And if they don't get fixed, what are you going to do? Sue the gas companies? Wineries and tourism industry of Hector will suffer greatly. The number of people visiting the wineries and B&Bs will decline significantly. These are just a few negatives of fracking, and many of these have happened in many drilling communities. Many of you on the town board have expressed a huge concern about being sued of gas companies if fracking is banned. The board has repeated often that if fracking is banned, the town cannot afford the potential $3,000 per household you have said it could cost in legal fees if the town is sued. Banning is not illegal, and I ask you to consider, is it worth permanently damaging our land, our water, our wineries, our hunting and fishing, our farms, our homes, our way of life in the town of Hector? It is much more important to see the town permanently protected than see a very few benefit from the industry. I ask you to follow the lead of other New York communities that have banned or passed moratorium, such as Dryden, Ulysses, Ithaca, Jerusalem, Danby, Geneva, Virgil, Binghamton, Canandaigua, and even places such as Bulgaria, France, Ontario, and Quebec. Protect Hector and ban fracking in the town of Hector. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Coven Fitzsimmons. I am a world traveler. I am Hector raised. I am a mother. I'm a physician, and I am a landowner here in Hector. I live and work in Schenectady, New York, and I am currently in my postgraduate training to be a family physician. I come to you after about a 70-hour work week, where in my postgraduate education, I'm taking care of pregnant women, infants and children, adults and elderly alike, and I take care of the community in Schenectady, New York. I thank you for the opportunity to come in today to talk about our beloved Hector. New prescriptions are out every single day with provisions and claims that they will lose weight, will make us feel better. We're one tablet closer to curing all of the ills of our life. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the commercials on television where all the claims say, that this is the one tablet cure to all of our ills. However, this list of side effects may include nausea, vomiting, headache, stroke, dizziness, abdominal pain, or death. I'm sure we're all familiar with those ads. Hydro-fracking companies have said that Hector is one step closer to our cure for all of our needs with hydro-fracking. They, too, have a long list of side effects, which may not include, but are may not limited to, chemical spills, cancer, burns, truck traffic, noise pollution, contaminated water, and decreased tourism. Maybe hydro-fracking could be the potential magic pill, the cure for our quote-unquote ills that we have here in Hector. But the doctors of New York State, the Association for Family Physicians, of which I am a member, have stated that the studies are insufficient and the scientific studies needed to determine what the health risks of hydrofracking have not been completed. Well, I've performed my physical examination and evaluation of Hector, New York. Its heart is beating strong. Its veins and arteries are pumping with pure, clean water. Its muscles are strong and well-trained. Its roots are strong and grounded. It is my personal and professional opinion that Hector is in a good state of health. My prescription for Hector is to avoid hydrofracking until further notice. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Schatz, and I live on Newtown Road in Odessa. First, I would like to thank the Hector Town Board for holding this hearing, which gives us the opportunity to express our concerns. I recently attended a talk on the economics of natural gas drilling by Deborah Rogers, a former financial analyst and owner of an organic goat dairy in Fort Worth, Texas. The portrait she painted of her city 5 years into fracturing the Barnett Shale was an ugly one. Well sites spread in a grid-like pattern every half mile, situated in a city park, near schools, on the university campus, and close to hospitals before extending into the countryside. When the air was tested, 94% of the sites measured a toxic cocktail of benzene and formaldehyde, known carcinogens. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality stated that drilling caused more air toxins than all cars, trucks, and airplanes combined in that region, making Fort Worth the city with the dirtiest air in the state. Sadly, for those residents of Fort Worth, 80% of the wells drilled have proven to be uneconomic, but their landscape is littered with them. Dead wells are capped and left to rust with no remediation regulated. Can you imagine our beautiful Finger Lakes scattered with rusting drill rigs? Recently, it was estimated by the U.S. Geological Survey that natural gas from the Marcellus Shale would meet U.S. energy needs for only 6 years. That is down from the initial estimate of 17 years. 6 years of energy at what cost? The potential environmental degradation of our water, air, and earth, bringing compromised health to everything in this region. Yes, some of our neighbors may see increased income from natural gas extraction on their land, and neighbors with rental property for gas company employees coming in will have some temporary benefit. For a while, there will be a larger population using our region's goods and services. But what will we be living with and left with in the industrialization of our landscape? As a tourist, would you want to experience the wine trail stuck behind numerous water and chemical trucks servicing hydrofracking, or see a landscape dotted with drill pads? Would you stay in a B&B or choose to dine in a restaurant with the light and noise of a compressor station running 24/7? Tourists can decide not to come here under these circumstances. We live here and have chosen to call this place home. If hydraulic fracturing is permitted, maybe we think we can hang on through the truck traffic, noise, and light pollution, even the visual impact of drill rigs. The sorry fact is that accidents do and will happen, as documented by states that are embroiled in the fracking process. We can't afford to risk contamination of this land and the plant and wildlife we love with this array of carcinogenic chemicals. I urge you to take the necessary steps to enact a ban on hydrofracturing and to protect Hector from the threat to all we hold dear.
The next three speakers, Bob Fitzsimmons, Cole Gilbert, and John White.
That's Deborah asked me to.
Thank you. Welcome and good morning, friends and neighbors. Thank you, town board representatives, for hearing us out today. I was thinking about last summer and the few summers before when I'm riding up 414 and I see those goofy tourists and they turn on their left signal and they turn right. They pull out of places thinking they've got plenty of time. They don't have time. I just thought how much I would love to protect those sweet people from the fracking traffic of those trucks pressuring down on them. If I had the power to protect them, I'd do it. If I had the power to protect our wine industry, I'd do it. If I had the power to protect Seneca Lake, I'd do it. If I had the power to protect our restaurants, I would do it. I'd protect that economy. I'd protect our natural resources. I would protect that lake. If I had that power, I would do it. And I am asking you, our duly elected town representatives, to stop hiding from your fears about a corporation threat to sue you and do what all these other towns and representatives have done to protect their tourist industry, to protect their people, their kids, their natural resources, their pure waters, and enforce home rule, the sacred trust that is a part of your contract for representing the town of Hector. Use home rule now to do what these folks have already done in restricting this industry with bans, moratoriums, and other restrictions. Yates County, Town of Jerusalem, Penn Yan, Barrington, Benton, Milo, DeWitt, Tully, Marcellus, Skaneateles, City of Syracuse, Tustin, Niles, Spafford, Jordan, Elbridge, Danby, Torrey, Naples, Plainville, Cortlandville, Smithville, Maryland, Milford, Morris, New Lisbon, Westford, Columbus, Plymouth, Croton, Middlesex, Onondaga, Albany, Alfred, Lebanon, Dryden, Otsego, Croton Watershed, Cooperstown, Wales, Camillus, Kirkland, Brighton, New Hartford, Auburn, Onondaga County, Ithaca, Cherry Valley, Geneva, Virgil, and there's another page here. You're welcome to take a look at it at your leisure. You have that trust of home rule. It's home rule, not corporations that rule Hector. Enforce that home rule. Take care of us. Protect us. You have the power to protect. Use that power now, please, and thank you.
I need another espresso to keep up with that. So my name's Gilbert. Thanks for listening to us. I couldn't make it down to the meeting a couple Tuesday nights ago. I live over on Stillwell Road with my wife Linda Rayer. We've got 8 acres there and we live off well water. I have 2 primary concerns. One is that my major concern is if the well gets fouled, then the value of our property is going to go down. And the second one is that the DEC can regulate this industry. So I brought in some data. I figure we all need information. This is from a paper that was published last May that on this axis across the bottom, this shows the distance of a drinking water well from a frack site. And on this vertical axis here is the amount of methane in a well. All right, so this was 68 wells were looked at in northern Pennsylvania and Otsego County. All right, so 68 drinking water wells. Here's what you can see, it's pretty clear. If you're far away from a drill pad, the methane's really low. This gray bar shows what the government considers actionable methane. But if you're close, within a half mile of a drill site, yeah, some of them don't have any methane, but the majority of them are contaminated with methane. I'm sure we've all seen pictures of water faucets flaming, you know, on YouTube and stuff like that. But these are hardcore data. I don't want my well to be in this group here. The second concern that I have is that I'm not an expert in this, but as I was writing my response to the draft environmental impact statement, I started looking around on the web, and I found this article in about 15 minutes. It was published in May. The draft impact statement came out in September, and it was not mentioned in that impact statement. That says to me that the DEC doesn't have the staff to find this article or to regulate this industry, so I'm really concerned about that. I brought in copies of the paper in case you guys haven't seen it. I'll stick them in the box back there. But fouled wells really concerns me, and I hope you'll take that into consideration. Thanks for your time.
Okay.